Good afternoon, everybody. This is Richard Povall, and I am coming to you from the UK this morning. So it is very dark outside. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm looking forward to introducing this session of speakers. I'm just going to share my screen. So the title of this panel session is Design and Post-Capitalism, Nurturing Social Evolution Through Mindful Design. My name is Professor Richard Povall, and the co-chair and co-host of this panel is Hyun-Kyung Lee. This panel explores, to paraphrase the words of one of our early participants who's actually no longer with us, fermentation architecture in both literal and metaphoric senses. Panelists will speak about socially focused design arising from a broad set of practices through the creation of objects and marketable products to exploring knowledge generation and sharing. All of the work shared and the primary focus of conversation is about radical approaches to forms of design that nurtures social evolution in a post-capitalist world based on Drucker, 1998. Most of this work is linked with the pioneering Science Walden Research Center at the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology, whose central work interrogates the fundamental principles of how societies and economies function. In particular, we learn about the BV toilet designed at Science Walden, along with a new currency that together probe most of the fundamental assumptions about capitalistic societies and their extensive, often wasteful use of resources. Above all, the panel will open a conversation around how mindful design can bring about the significant changes required to evolve society to its next level of consciousness. All design from our panelists is for and about people, about community, and about sustainable being. Each of the projects sets out to address a societal need relating directly or indirectly to climate change or living lightly on the planet, avoiding waste, and creating new economies. The projects range from the global and broad to the hyperlocal or personal. Some generate income that goes directly towards supporting people and communities, other posit ideas intended to help the planet or help people live better lives. So the panel is opening up a conversation about how we as practitioners or producers or researchers or academics can develop our sustained design work together so that we can learn from one another. This applies equally to designs making extraordinary objects that do extraordinary things, as to the design of processes and systems that help draw people together and draw attention to the plight of the planet we all share. So some of the topics we will address within this session will include ways to develop our design work and sustainable philosophy together, better design to create a better world driving social evolution, new design concepts and methods for dealing with waste, global warming, and water pollution, etc. And how we can balance profit with altruism. So I'm just going to briefly introduce everybody on the panel and then we'll begin. So my name is Richard Povall. I'm a cultural producer and researcher and founding director of a small organization in the UK called Art.Earth. My practices and research center on the natural world and how ecological systems and art practices, and in particular, how art can speak to questions of ecology and the climate emergency. I've held a number of senior academic posts, and I am currently visiting research professor at Science Walden at the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology. Hyun-Kyung Lee, who's co-convening this session, is Associate Professor in the Division of Culture and Design Management at the Underwood International College at Yonsei University in Korea. She designed a waterless energy-producing toilet and smart toilet system named Vivi.
Richard,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you, but we don't see any presentation file here. It's all white. Is it your
Oh, you don't have a picture? Okay, let me.
Could you turn to second page or?
Yeah, you should see now. We should see Sang-soo. No, okay. I will try it again. Let me try it one more time.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me.
Oh, now we see the screen.
Okay. Well, there hadn't been any other changes before then, so this is the first image. So I'll finish just reading Hyun-Kyung's bio. She has a PhD in arts administration from Florida State University in the US, an MA in museum studies from Syracuse University in New York, and a BFA in visual communication from Hongik University. Sung-eun Jang is CEO of Jae-ok, famous for their solar paper and solar cow. So I've got the wrong image here, beg your pardon. Let's see. There we are. Famous for their solar paper and solar cow, providing cheap solar energy to communities in developing countries like Africa. Jae-ok's solar paper received the Innovation Award at CES, the world's most prestigious electronics fair, in 2017. Solar Cow received the Innovation Award at CES in 2019 and was one of Time magazine's Best Inventions 2019. Sung-eun studied design at the School of the Art Institute in Chicago. Sukwoo Lee, I think things are in the wrong order, so I will just find the image for you. Sorry, everybody. There we go. Sukwoo Lee is CEO of the experimental design company SWNA and has collaborated with global brands such as Samsung, Audi, and Hyundai. SWNA is recognized for their Life Clock, a small desktop clock, beautiful enough to be in the home environment, but containing essential tools for events such as earthquakes. He studied industrial design at Hongik University in Korea. Sang-soo Ahn is a graphic designer and president of the Alternative Design School at the Paju Typography Institute. He founded the AG Typography Institute and has published design books and invented many typefaces and logos. His most well-known logo is for the Life Peace community, pursuing peace for the world. He graduated from Hongik University in Korea. Jae-ok Lee, and well, let's find Jae-ok. You must pardon my pronunciations, I'm sure they're not very good.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Jae-ok Lee is a media artist and tutor at the Paju Typography Institute near Seoul. He studied design at Concordia University in Canada and studied digital media at the RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design in USA. And Semee Yoon, sorry everybody, don't know how I managed to get these in the wrong order. There we are, is Assistant Professor of Sustainable Development in the School of Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences at Yonsei University in Seoul. She has a PhD in Sustainable Development from Columbia University in the USA. So that is our panel for today. So Hyun-Kyung, I'm going to hand over to you for your presentation.
All right. Okay, let's start with my presentation first. Okay, hold on a second. All right, can you guys all see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right, remember our IASDR conference first day, the keynote speaker, the guru of the design field, Don Norman, spoke some important maxims. Changes must be collaborative, driven by the people. Many things must change, especially beliefs and behavior that disrupt societal health and ecological system. So would you listen how my topic and the keynote are related? Okay, my topic is designers and scientists collaborate on a resource scarcity for social change. I am currently working on CRC, which is Convergence Research Center. The project is a 7-year project with 1.4 billion US dollars funding by the Korean government. The group includes various experts from the science fields and the design and art fields for true convergence, mainly professors from the environmental engineering department and humanities and arts and design department, including Richard Povall, Sang-soo Ahn, Jae-ok Lee here. We are all the member of the CRC Center. So together, we seek to bring social change by converting feces into biogas and make money. We can even cook egg fries with that gas and turn on heating and air conditioning with that gas too. Okay, so here's a toilet design that we have. An individual is paid with what we call feces standard money for his or her excrement. The FSM would hold the equivalent purchasing power of regular money. One-time use of toilet would yield an estimate of $4. So if a person goes regularly every day, then that would mean $120 a month. Oh, so if we earn only poo-pooing and get $120, then it could be kind of living expense. So not bad, huh? So this toilet treats human excrement without using water. It sets a dryer and a grinder at the bottom to convert feces into a dry, odorless material. Once this powdered feces is transferred to the microbial energy production system, it can later be converted to methane, which can be used as a heating fuel. It has a streamlined design, which resembles a white porcelain from the Joseon dynasty and is reminiscent of the French dressing table chair. That was the first version. And then, yeah, my main job here is designing a waterless toilet. The special feature is, number one, the ultraviolet UV lamp is installed to sterilize the toilet bowl. And number two, feces and urine separating storage system. So it is designed to suck up feces like a vacuum cleaner and send it directly to the energy production system. It requires about ½ liters of water, which is significantly less than what a regular toilet consumes. Yeah. So the toilet also features a urine analysis system. It will help with early detection of diabetes, thyroid cancer risk, nutrition deficiency, etc. So can also be used as a home pregnancy test. It was a structure of the urine stick dispenser. It goes like this. You sit down on the toilet and pee. Step 2, wait till the diagnostic information comes into your cell phone. Step 3, check the result. And if you have some problem, then consult with nearest clinic or under appointment. If I go a little more detail about the technology part, the schematic diagram showing urine can be automatically tested while users sit on the toilet that separates urine from feces. Proposed urine tester comprises inexpensive sensors and mass-produced electronic parts. So images of the urine reagent strip absorbing the collected urine are captured using the charge-coupled device camera module of the urine tester. And then white balances are subsequently calibrated using the sequence of the images taken at 4 different light levels. After auto calibration, the RGB color information of the strip is converted into digital values and then compared with the reference provided by the manufacturer. So all test results can be wirelessly transmitted to hospital, clinics, as well as users' mobile devices. So we are using design and art as a means to reach out and inform people of what we were doing. In the school campus, one can find digital tree display. When people passing by, they will notice that the tree is full and green when sufficiently provided with poo-poo and gas. A somewhat withering tree signifies deficiency of gas and poo-poo, prompting people to come in and poop there. Okay, what else can we see the role of design and art in this project? Exhibitions. There wasn't ceramic expo, so we exhibited these toilet design there and received rave reviews. Who would think that we exhibit toilets at a ceramic work at the expo? In this exhibition, the design team has alleviated the intimate private toilet space into an art through the use of unique toilet design. So many visitors like the toilets and treat it as a precious porcelain. So kids really enjoyed playing around the toilet paper installation. We made a miniature napkin holder, pencil vase, toothbrush holder. So it was a collaboration between one toilet company and one ceramic company. Here's a little more images using the toilet graffiti style and some more sustainable interior design with the toilets. So what I like to tell you throughout my presentation is, as Dawn Norman spoke at the keynote session, yeah, change must be collaborative. We collaborated, scientists in many fields from humanity, arts and design fields, we collaborated, driven by the people. And many things must change, especially beliefs and behavior that disrupt the societal health and ecological system. Separating your poo-poo and making energy out of it can innovate socially, which generates money. And health, diagnosed, and ecological, poo-poo can be a resource. So let's save the world with our little action, poo-poo every day. That was my point. That's it.
Thank you very much. That's fun. That's a great, all kinds of images there I hadn't seen before, so that was really nice to see. That's great. Thank you very much. We'll go on to Sung-eun.
Semee Yoon.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Actually,
Sang-eun, do you want to go, Sang-eun?
yeah,
Yeah?
it'll be really
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So due to time constraints, I'll hand it over to Sang-eun.
Okay, so I just share my slide. So can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Semee Yoon, for letting me do the presentation ahead of you. Okay, so hello everyone. This is Sang-soo Ahn. I'm the CEO of Jae-ok. Yep, it's really nice to have opportunity to introduce about the solar cow we are doing in Africa. We are focusing on 2 issues in developing countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. So first issue is, child labor. Because, like 1 in 5 children in Africa, they do not have access to the school. And we realized that it is a little bit more complicated than just, like building a school or, like giving a book, because it is, like the parents' decision whether they can go to school or stay at home and doing some chores. So we realized that we need something, that can nudge the parents to send their kids to school. And then the next issue is energy access, because according to UN's report, even in 2049, 50 of the people in sub-Saharan Africa, they do not have access to the power, the decent power. So this current way of distributing the energy definitely has the limits. So we are trying to solve these two issues. So I'd like to share the video of the solar cow. Okay.
What if I tell you there's a magical way to bring my friends to school? Let me show you how solar cow works. Walkerlos, 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 Walkerlos. Go to school. Ta-da! The secret to this magic is, with the solar milk batteries, my friends go to school where the solar cow waits for them. They plug their batteries into the solar cow. While they wait for the solar cow to charge the batteries, they can take classes and also have fun with their friends. After school, they can go home with fully charged batteries to power lights and cell phones. Thanks to solar cow, the house is now bright at night. Also, they no longer need to go to charging shops far from home. The solar milk batteries provide incentive for parents to send their kids to school, so my friends and their parents can all be happy.
There is something else that is special about Solar Cow. Solar Cow connects people. The solar milk batteries have their own individual ID codes, which are recorded whenever the children use the batteries. This digitizes attendance, allowing supporters to see the real impact they are making. Each little light brightens up a child's future. Come, say the magic word.
Walkerlos. Solar cow. School teleporter.
Yeah. Okay, so what we did was quite simple compared to its impact. So it is the Kenya code. It is our very first solar cow. Actually, like we carried, the piece of the solar cow on our bags and then fly to the Kenya. And it was my very first time in Africa. So, like we installed the solar cow at school and, like they give away the milk shape of the power bank to the children. Since it is only compatible with the solar cow, they must come to school every morning with the solar milk, the battery. And then, because they have to wait anyway, like while they're waiting, they can charge the solar cow can charge these batteries. And then after they finish the school, they can go home with this fully charged power source that can charge their parents' cell phone, and they can even, light the darkness. Because, this area, they are already paying a lot of money for the energy. For example, the 90% of the people are using the cell phone, not the smartphone, all of them, but then, the penetration of the cell phone is really high. But then the electricity is not, very common in remote areas. So they have to walk like 2 or 3 hours to the charging station and pay like the 20 cents per charge. It's quite a lot of money consider their income, which is around like $30 per month. And then also they are using the kerosene, as a fossil fuel, which is very toxic for their respiratory. It causes a respiratory disease, and also it emits the carbons. So now they can, have the access to the energy. So it kind of like makes them to voluntarily send their kids to school rather than, let them to chore or, take care of the goods. So, and then there's one more unique feature, as you also watch it from the video. We can actually, track the data. So every time the children come to school and then plug it for the charging, it is saved, that the data is saved. So we can actually see, their digitize the data of the attendance. And also, it can be interestingly related to the carbon emissions. So because, we can, it can be, equal to how much the kerosene it contribute to reduce. Yeah, and this is, a upgraded version. And then I'd like to also point out the impact of the solar cow. So the attendance and the enrollment, as we expected, is increased, and it is quite amazing number, even compared to the conditional cash transfer by World Bank. It has a similar approach with the approach of the incentive, but then using the cash. But then we are, providing the electricity. And also, through the interview, we found out that their, self-efficacy was, it has pretty positive impact on their self-efficacy. I think it's because, they became the one who delivered the value of source of the energy to home every day. And also now they have access to the, the power for the IST devices, and, reduce the use of the kerosene. So this kind of a new approach that tackles the child labor and the energy distribution got a lot of attention from all over the world, like the CES, and then from the United States, and then Belgium, and then Germany, and as we are also selected as the best invention, the 100th best invention by the Time magazine, and Green Tech, the award, one of the very prestigious awards from the Germany. And now we are, implementing the solar cow, these 3 countries in Africa, Kenya, Congo, and Tanzania. Now I'd like to, end my presentation with this very 2 important questions. So what is the innovation and what is the technology for? Because, we know that, solar energy, solar panel technology was there for a long time, right? And the batteries, we didn't invent this, right? But then as a designer, I think we focused on the, how to use this technology to actually, solve these issues. And I think that's, what designers are, what designers can do. And that is what we are doing. Yeah, and I believe that that's the innovation. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Such a fantastic project, and so really good to hear some more about it. So we're moving on.
All right, thank you for this opportunity to speak to the audience of IASDR IASDR on ways to nurture social evolution through mindful design. Please don't mind the music. Please consider it as a background carol music to complement my presentation. Today, it's a really exciting opportunity for me to briefly introduce how higher education institutions can provide the playground for youth to find where their passion lies and recognize their own potential to achieve SDGs. So it's great to see how the CEO Sung-eun was able to explore solar cows in different settings. And so this is where I'm coming from to explore how we can motivate young generation to pursue this kind of mindful design. I'm currently teaching and researching sustainable development and cooperation at Yonsei University in South Korea. But I received my higher education at Columbia University, which housed an umbrella organization called the Earth Institute. This organization functioned as a channel to introduce diverse hands-on research projects that professors were working on together to tackle real-world challenges around the world at local, regional, and global scales. So by participating in such projects, I was able to visit the African continent for the first time, Malawi. Around the time I received my doctoral degree in 2015, 103 UN member states also agreed to achieve these 17 goals together, covering issues on the planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. Some of you may be already familiar with these goals. The 17 goals did not actually come out of thin air. It was actually a product of spending 3 years of discussion about the future we want among not only policymakers, but also academics, youth, civil society organizations, and businesses. So if you look carefully at the goal 4, which is on quality education, the sub-target 4.7 actually outlines the need to ensure that all learners are provided with the knowledge and skills to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and nonviolence, global citizenship, and appreciation of cultural diversity and culture's contribution to sustainable development. Essentially, the sub-target of the 4th quality education challenges us to nudge the young generation to realize that they're not just members of their local society, but also global citizens of the world. So UNESCO, one of the UN organizations, actually has a guidebook about how to nurture a young generation to become global citizens in this increasingly globalized world. And it actually tells the instructors to come up with a curriculum around 3 main learning domains: cognitive, socio-emotional, and behavioral, which I will explain in the following slides. This guidebook actually has lessons to apply through K through 12 education, kindergarten to high school. But UNESCO recommends that universities figure out how to do this as they seem appropriate. So there's no clear guideline for professors to teach on global citizenship. But then there are always scholars looking to see how others have approached this problem. And the systematic review conducted by Hore et al. Recommends that solar learners need to be provided with experiences that take them out of their comfort zone and also expose learners to interpersonal relationships and encounters that enable them to have broader perspectives and also mature and also gain cosmopolitanism. So this is precisely why the college that I'm teaching at with Professor Hyun-Kyung Lee is trying to nurture our students as global citizens with critical thinking skills and servant leadership mindset. We actually try to provide them with the curriculum to develop these critical thinking skills and analytical skills, and also provide them with a variety of majors. But not only that, we try to have them be a member of a diverse cultural community to learn from different cultures and be exposed to cultural norms that they may not be familiar with. And we also try to provide courses that are usually not found in a regular college setting in Korea, such as a capstone seminar, where students pick their own issue related to sustainable development of their choice and meet with experts, practitioners, and academics to explore what could be the working prototype that they can provide to society. But we found that there was a limitation to how much students could empathize with a variety of global challenges in a classroom setting. So we also started to explore extracurriculum setting, where we took students to the field, like Sung-eun did by going to Sub-Saharan Africa, so that they can empathize with issues at hand and work with local partners to develop working solutions. But as you know, COVID-19 pandemic has frustrated such efforts by Yonsei University, and many study abroad programs have been delayed and even canceled. Thus, we have used this forum called the Global Engagement and Empowerment Forum, through which we invite visionaries, both from academia and non-academia, to foster discussions and action points to consider as global citizens. So both youth and the public were encouraged to participate in live discussion with these visionaries, which helped them to learn about what is going on in other parts of the world, invoking them to foster the socio-emotional and behavioral domains of global citizenship education. So at the end of the day, as educators and researchers at Underwood International College of Yonsei University, we hope that these diverse experiences will serve as building blocks that students need in order to come up with mindful design that will contribute to the achievement of SDGs. I hope that this has motivated you to think about how your institutions and universities can contribute to SDGs. Thank you for listening.
Wow.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Let's get some move on. Who is next? So you got confused about the order here. So who's next up?
Shall we go with Jae-ok Lee first instead of
Yeah.
Sung?
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay, let me,
You have my video, right?
yeah.
I prepared a video. I thought I
Hello,
wouldn't
my name is
wouldn't be able.
Jae-ok Lee from Paju Typography Institute in Paju, Korea. I'm very pleased to present my project, Hello and Goodbye COVID-19, How to Face with the Unknown. That's the title of my presentation. This is the poster image of the project. I and my colleague Minho Kwon, who is an artist and illustrator and working in Pati as a faculty member. So we co-produced this project together last year when the pandemic very severe all over the world. So it was an international illustration competition in an official form. So we had an international open call for this event. And the title of the event was Hello and Goodbye COVID-19. We kind of tried to have double meanings in the title, greet to the pandemic and also to farewell to the pandemic. Many artists and designers and illustrators participated in this competition, submitting their creative works. And we had an exhibition at the end to show the result of the competition in a gallery space in Seoul. So at the beginning, we started a simple question, like probably everyone else in the world had similar questions. So how will our lives unfold in the post-coronavirus world? So we had this question in mind, but we still wanted to have this question for artists and designers, and we wanted to see how they respond to this COVID situation. So we decided to have an open call in a form of competition, international competition for illustrations. So with this event, we hoped to look into the possibilities to bring questions and imaginations for the unseen situation, because we thought it's a good idea to visualize something invisible, to actually face with it and to not to fear with it. So we started quickly and prepared for the Google submission forms, and promotional materials were prepared in a very quick manner, and initiated it right away. The rules of the competition was simple enough. Anyone over 18 years old can participate, and they should visualize the two situations before and after COVID-19 pandemic. And very simple rules for drawings. They just had to submit black and white drawings. So it was simple enough to open up for everybody. For over about 1 month period of submission time, we have more than 160 submissions from 14 countries worldwide. And among these 160 submissions, we selected 20 finalists. So this is the photographs of the jury sessions for the finalist selections. So we invited 3 illustrators, and we had a couple of rounds to select the final 20 works. These are some of the comments from the jury members during the jury process. And they wanted to ask questions to the participants, like, why do you have to draw the object of fear? In this case, the pandemic or the coronavirus. Now I will show some of the works that were selected for finalists. So we asked participants to submit 2 drawings, one depicting pre-COVID situation and one depicting post-COVID situation. So everyone submitted 2 drawings. So for left side, it's a pre-COVID situation, and right side is post-COVID situation. In this case, we can see a demon-like character, and it's a very figurative and illustrative drawing. The illustrator was probably focusing on the dark side of the COVID pandemic situation. That's my guess. And in this case, it's more straightforward drawing representing more nice and calm weather like situation in the left side and the right side with the storm and rain and bad weather like situation, also a face wearing a mask. So two opposite mood, I guess, were depicted. And in this case, it's more abstract representation. I'm not sure what the illustrator drew, but it looks like stone or a horn. Like in this case, we have more geometrical form, but as you can see, these are all very different and diverse, and various ideas visually represented. So this was very inspiring, and we were very happy about these results. Here we can have another interesting illustrations. In the right side, we can see some clues for the temperature check that everyone has been checking since the pandemic spread out. And this is another one. If I didn't tell you which side is post or which side is pre-COVID, I wouldn't recognize which one is which. So I was very happy and surprised about how the artist and designer or illustrator dealt with themes very neutral, with very neutral perspectives. So it was an interesting finding. This is the second prize I remember, because we had 20 finalists and 3 winners, first, second, and third prize. These are some of the photographies of exhibition we had in Seoul in a gallery space in a hotel. At the beginning, we were not sure if we would be able to have a physical exhibition, but we tried and we went to a hotel downtown Seoul and asked them if they could host this exhibition, and surprisingly they were happy about it, because they didn't have any event at all for a long time because due to the pandemic situation. So they wanted to have some kind of events going on in their space. So they let us use their space. So we set up the exhibition as if it is a big quarantine space. So we used a large plastic to wrap up the whole space, so you can see the structure. And we also employed different techniques to exhibit the drawings. So we printed the drawings on a like bottle, because at this time we were all familiar with these sanitizers bottles. So we used that to show these drawings. There's another picture. We also showed the drawings on a printed paper, so they can see in a bigger scale. We had also an experimental digital media showcase going on online. So we had a exact digital replica of the gallery space, but we used different interactive techniques in this virtual gallery. So you can see some of the stones on the floor. That's the review stone, we named it. It's interactive elements that you can leave your comments, and you can also see other people's comment on it. So I will explain how does it work. So around the exhibited work, in this case, the statue of the pharaoh in the virtual space, you can leave your stone on the floor when you leave your comment about the work. And if you visit the virtual gallery and click the space and click the stone on the floor in the space, you can see how other people's commented on the work. So it was an experimental element in this digital exhibition. So the project was very independent. It was self-initiative and very autonomous and quite experimental in many aspects, but luckily the project was very successful. So we were very happy about it. So I will try to wrap up my presentation with this phrase here. I guess I could say the project was to approach illustrative visualization as a methodology to build a shared sense, for this case, the pandemic, that is not biased, as it opens up a space for diverse perspectives and different visual translations. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Yeah.
I sent my video because I thought I wouldn't be able to be in person here, but I have.
Okay. Well, it's good that you're here. We have questions coming in to the chat, but we may have time to get to, but I think we should finish up with our last two presentations.
Okay, next is Sang-soo Ahn, one of the guru in this design field. Okay, let me.
네, 안녕하세요. 네, thank you for having me here. Okay, I'd like to talk today about the life peace symbol. The COVID pandemic and our global climate crisis are forcing many of us to pause and to contemplate life and sustainability. What is the most important thing to all of us at the present moment? I believe that the most important thing is life. We could not be gathered together here today without it. This is the life peace symbol illustrating the characteristics of life. All life is one. On the bottom is a human being. The symbol on the right represents life forms with 4 feet, such as a cow, the horse, dog, pig, fox, deer, etc. On the left is a life form in water, the fish. All life forms flying in the sky are connected to the head of wise one. When cattle or birds are ill, people become ill. When people contaminate water, the fish cannot live. People and other life forms can only live. When fish are able to live, we humans maintain our life, especially by the sacrifice of other life forms. The green tree and the plants lives on top of the head and is also one body. Human life is maintained by the leaves, the stem, the fruit, the leaves, and the roots of the tree and plants. This is also shaped like an antenna that transmits direction from the providential universe. There is also the sun and moon. All life forms live by the energy. The power derived from the sun and the moon, and also from the atmosphere, the wind, the rain, and the sunlight, living in harmony with the universal life forms. Peace signifies the interweavings of all life forms, like a net, leaving out their lives where they are at. That is, in essence, the peace of life or life peace. This is the hope of life peace, and it will continue growing, progressing. Human beings are merely members of a vast living community, part of a fabric, part of the universe. Human beings are not creatures that reign over other living things. We are beings that must live in harmony with other living things. The life peace symbol simply expresses this pattern for life. The idea of living in harmony with others, a concept that there is a heart even inside the pebble, is an aesthetic and ethical paradigm of the ancient Asian people. To put it another way, it means that all people are connected. There is no other. There are no foreign countries, no foreigners. We are all I, all being one. And the love that stems from this belief is the essence of universal consciousness. We hear the earth groaning and suffering from this human virus. Everything from the Siberian permafrost melting, the spread of microorganisms that once threatens mammoths and dinosaurs, to the disappearing of 10,000-year-old glaciers in the North and South Poles, and reports of Earth's rotation speed increasing, all clearly unprecedented. This Earth is a 4.5 billion-year-old brilliant gift of the universe, but we are now living through the Anthropocene age that threatens the fact of this Earth. This being the result of our human-centered civilization, the current geological age viewed as the period during which human activity has been the dominant influence on climate and the environment. From alpha to here, that represents the whole alpha and omega of the Bible, because of its text implies the west of the Eurasian continent. However, diachronically, the whole of the culture and civilization covers the first letter of the oldest language, Latin alphabet, A, to the last letter here of the youngest writing, the Korean alphabet, Hangul. Synchronically, it represents the whole of time and space, from the west of the end of the Eurasian continent. In effect, the whole of a culture and civilization. We can no longer distinguish the Earth's east, west, north, and south. The current climate crisis is only one Earth. Now, the perception of Eurasia is one continent connected to Africa. The entire planet is only one, stemming from this climate crisis. This has made us sustainability. We are experiencing a shift that we are all part of connected whole. I cannot say enough about life peace, but I will have to stop here for today. The post moments we have because of the pandemic are very precious because they provide time to reflect on sustainability. Pause is a seed for change and a time for self-discovery. Our foremost priority is not to socially distance ourselves, but to live symbiotically in peace with all living things, including people. Invention is the future. Our future is born of imagination and practice. Dreams that we dream together and hopes that we hope together will make a difference for our future. With this idea in mind, for example, because you are, I am, we must ask ourselves that small act of service we can give to bring happiness to all living things around us. And last, I would like to insert the word design in place of the Tao, or the way from the first phrase of Lao Tzu. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The design that has been called design thus far may not be the eternal design. Thank you very much.
All right, there's one more presenter left. Let me play the recording. The product designer, Sukwoo Lee.
안녕하세요. 산업 디자이너 이석우입니다. 저는 산업 디자인이라는 영역에서 지금 활동하고 있는 디자이너고요. 한국의 SWNA라는 산업 디자인 오피스를 운영하고 있습니다. 사실 산업 디자인이라고 하면 사실 간을부터 우주선까지라고 얘기 많이 하는데 지금 다양한 영역에서 디자인 작업을 하고 있고 특히 산업 디자인의 어떤 전형적인 산업 디자인, 제품 디자인과 오브제나 가구 디자인을 비롯해서 건축적인 이야기나 우주선에 대한 디자인, 브랜드에 대한 이야기들이 다양하게 지금 제작하고 있습니다. 제가 몇 가지 프로젝트들을 좀 설명을 좀 드려볼게요. 저희는 사실은 굉장히 다양한 프로젝트를 하면서 어떻게 프로세스 자체를 좀 더 재미있고 창의적으로 만들어낼 수 있을까에 대해서 굉장히 노력을 많이 하고 있고, 그래서 보시는 것처럼 이렇게 다양한 어떤 내부 프로세스에 대한 아카이브 같은 것들을 많이 하고 있습니다. 첫 번째로 좀 말씀드리고 싶은 프로젝트는 재난키트 디자인입니다. 우리가 보통 재난키트라고 하면 굉장히 복잡한 어떤 이야기들, 그리고 복잡한 어떤 디바이스라든지 좀 일상생활에 참 활용되지 않은 그런 이야기들을 제품들이 좀 많이 있는데, 그래서 보시는 것처럼 처음에 재난키트를 할 때 이렇게 좀 재난용품이 잘 들어있는 가방 디자인을 해볼까라는 생각을 했었는데, 조금 생각을 한 단계 더 좀 근본적으로 했을 때 우리가 재난키트를 갖고 있지 않을까에 대한 생각을 하게 됐습니다. 그래서 재난키트 디자인을 좀 더 일상의 어떤 오브젝트, 그리고 정말 선물할 수 있는 어떤 오브젝트, 그리고 일상생활에서 그 환경에 잘 순응할 수 있는 오브젝트를 좀 디자인해보면 어떨까라는 생각에서 다른 방식으로 좀 접근해서 디자인을 하게 됐고요. 그래서 보시는 게 이제 디자인된 오브젝트입니다. 그래서 보시는 것처럼 시계 형태를 띠고 있고, 누가 봐도 그냥 아주 어디서나 볼 수 있는 시계 형태입니다. 근데 이거를 열면 72시간 버틸 수 있는 재난용품이 들어있습니다. 그래서 이 재난용품, 그러니까 뭐 압박분대라든지 뭐 호루라기나 알루미늄 포 같이 3일 동안 내가 재난 상태에서 버틸 수 있는 필수용품만 그렇게 집어넣었고요. 그래서 실제로는 이제 벽에 걸거나 아니면은 이렇게 선반에 올려놓거나 하는 어떤 상시성, 그러니까 우리가 일반적인 쓰는 데일리 오브젝트이지만 재난이 일어났을 때는 그 안에 있는 어떤 이야기들을, 그리고 제품들을 사용해서 내가 활용할 수 있는 그런 방향으로 디자인을 했습니다. 그래서 어떻게 보면 재난과 일상, 사실 재난은 우리 곁에 있다, 그리고 일상에서 있고, 재난 자체가 좀 특별한 거라기보다 누구에게나 일어날 수 있는 어떤 메시지를 전달하고 싶었던, 그런 메시지를 시계라는 매체와 조합시켜가지고 제안을 하고 그렇게 만든 프로젝트라고 할 수 있습니다. 의미부여라는 측면에서 다음에 보여드릴 프로젝트는 이제 평창 동계올림픽 메달 디자인이고요. 메달 디자인을 하는 건 사실 굉장히 의미성이 중요합니다. 그래서 어떤 메시지를 가지고 우리가 대중들한테 이 메달을 보여줬을 때 공감을 받을 수 있을지에 대한 얘기죠. 그래서 저는 어떤 평창 올림픽이라는 걸 생각했을 때 어떤 한국적인 이야기고, 한국적으로 우리가 가장 대표할 수 있는 것이 무엇인가를 봤을 때 저는 메달에 한글의 어떤 이야기를 좀 넣어보자는 해봤습니다. 그래서 한글에 평창 동계올림픽이라는 자음과 모음이 있는데, 그 중에 자음을 입체화하는 과정을 통해서 메달 디자인을 하게 됐습니다. 그래서 저는 한글이 문화의 씨앗이라고 생각을 했고, 그 문화의 씨앗이 자라나는 어떤 이야기들을 가지고 디자인을 하게 됐고, 그 자라나는 어떤 한글을 동그랗게 잘랐을 때 메달이 된다. 그래서 사실 올림픽 정신 같은 경우에도 그런 인고의 과정들, 내가 어떻게 열심히, 그리고 그 올림픽을 준비하는지 어떤 그런 인간적인 어떤 이야기들을 문화의 어떤 이야기들과 좀 비슷하게 생각을 했고요. 그래서 한글을 이렇게 발전시켜서 디자인을 했습니다. 그리고 특별히 한글의 이야기도 중요하지만 특히 또 스트랩, 목에 거는 것도 이제 한복에서 사용하는 갑사천을 이용해서 스트랩을 만들게 되고, 케이스 역시 나무를 사용해서 굉장히 소재적으로도 좀 어필할 수 있게끔, 그리고 형태 자체도 좀 더 한국적인 이야기를 담을 수 있게끔 이렇게 이제 보시는 것처럼 평창 동계올림픽에서 자음과 모음이 있을 때 자음을 이렇게 익스트루드 늘려서 이걸 붙여서 이제 한글을 입체화하는 과정을 거치고 그것들을 모아서 동그랗게 잘라내는 스토리라고 볼 수 있습니다. 그러니까 다양한 어떤 조형적 실험을 통해서 이렇게 작업을 했었고요. 그래서 2018년 동계올림픽 때 자연인도 전시도 되고, 실제로 상탄분들이 무게 메고 세레모니를 했던 플랫폼. 한글 평면 디자인과 입시 디자인의 사실 관계는 저한테 되게 중요한 주제고요. 그래서 특히 한글 박물관과 디자인은 어떤 조형물인데, 한글을 어떤 식으로 입체화를 시켜서 어떤 의미를 할 수 있을까라는 주제를 가지고 좀 스터디를 했던 거고요. 그래서 보시는 거는 한글을 입체, 그러니까 디지털 작업을 통해서 다양하게 변이시키고 입체화시키는 과정이다. 조형들을 가지고 만든 오브제들이고요. 그래서 한글에서 나타날 수 있는 어떤 새로운 조형성을 실험했던 작업이라고 볼 수 있습니다. 그래서 보시는 것처럼 자음과 모음의 어떤 기하학적인 형태를 가지고 다양하게 유출돼서 만든 오브제들이고요. 현재는 그 프랑스에 있는 프랑스 대사관에서 주한 프랑스 대사관에서 지금 전시를 하고 있는 거죠. 제가 좀 특별한 기회로 태극기함을 디자인할 어떤 상황이 생겼었는데, 태극기함 디자인 또한 굉장히 의미도 중요하고, 실제로 이 태극기함이 어떻게 활용될지에 대한 이야기가 중요합니다. 그래서 태극기함 디자인의 의뢰를 받았을 때 태극기함을 우리가 어떻게 활용을 하고 있지, 그리고 또 어떨 때 사용을 하지, 그리고 태극기함이 사용되지 않을 때는 그 태극기함이 어떤 형식으로 존재할지라는 근본적인 부분을 통해서 좀 디자인을 접근했고요. 그래서 최종 디자인은 이렇게 긴 막대기 형태입니다. 그래서 보시는 것처럼 심플한 어떤 긴 공의 형태고요. 실제로 이렇게 벽이나 바닥에 누이는 게 아니라 세워서 이제 보관을 할 수 있습니다. 공간적인 부분도 좀 더 유리하게 할 수 있고, 또 이게 태극기함이 보통 굉장히 구석에 들어가 있거나 신발장에 있거나, 굉장히 이제 태극기함 자체가 사실 의미가 되게 중요한데도 불구하고 잘 찾기 어려운 곳에, 그리고 좀 보관성만 용이한 곳에 그렇게 들어가 있는데, 저는 사실 이 태극기함을 좀 밖으로 끄집어내고 싶어요. 보시는 것처럼 일반적인 인테리어나 주거 환경에도 잘 어울릴 수 있게 그렇게 디자인을 했습니다. 그래서 안에를 열면 태극기가 이렇게 말려서 들어가 있고요. 이것들을 폈을 때 보시는 것처럼 이렇게 또 개양도 할 수 있게끔 그렇게 다리 구조를 디자인을 했습니다. 그래서 태극기함도 중요하지만 이 태극기를 어떻게 우리가 개양하는 게 중요한데, 현재 요즘의 아파트들 같은 경우에는 문을 열 수 없거나 개양대가 없거나 개양이 힘든 상황도 굉장히 많이 있어요. 그래서 이런 것들을 태극기함과 어떻게 바꿔줄 수 있는 환경들을 조금 더 바꿔주고 좀 더 그 태극기 자체의 의미를 부여할 수 있지 않을까라는 생각에서 함의 기능, 그리고 함 자체가 굉장히 우리 환경에 잘 어울릴 수 있고, 그 함 자체가 개양대로 사용할 수 있는 그런 특성들을 이제 같이 결합시켜서 디자인을 제안했습니다. 다음 보시는 프로젝트는 대구 디자인 센터가 시작했던 프로젝트고요. 3D 프린터로 만든 인스톨레이션 결과물입니다. 그래서 제가 생각했을 때 3D 프린터를 만드는 어떤 콘크리트, 그러니까 콘크리트를 3D 프린터로 만드는 것들이에요. 그래서 콘크리트 자체는 사실 굉장히 무거운 물성이기 때문에 저는 이 콘크리트를 정말 가볍게 바람에 날리는 형태로 캡처했을 때의 모습을 좀 더 반대적인 측면으로 봤을 때는 되게 어떤 천이 날아가는 어떤 형태인데 그거의 실제의 재질은 콘크리트다라는 어떤 그런 어떤 느낌을 주고 싶었습니다. 그래서 보시는 것처럼 실제로 어떤 형태는 굉장히 두꺼운 천이 날아가는 듯한 어떤 형상을 보이지만 실제 제작한 거는 콘크리트를 3D 프린터로 뽑아서 제작한 인스톨레이션. 보시는 것처럼 굉장히 거칠 그런 텍스처감의 콘크리트가 있지만 멀리서 봤을 때는 천 스스로가 서 있는, 그래서 천이 바람이 나누끼는 것 자체가 이렇게 서 있는 인스톨레이션을 제작했던 프로젝트고요. 실제로 이 콘크리트 자체는 프린트 자체는 이제 김포에서 출력을 뽑아서 이제 운송 수단을 이용해서 광주까지 가지고 왔었습니다. 초반에는 이런 어떤 다양한 어떤 실험들을 했었는데요. 콘크리트가 저는 조금 더 자연스럽고 조금 더 부드러운 이미지의 콘크리트의 느낌을 좀 주고 싶었고요. 그래서 오른쪽처럼 이제 나중에 종기를 이제 이렇게 만들어서 3D 프린터의 어떤 컨셉을 잡고 보시는 것처럼 이제 3D 프린트를 통해서 스케일 모델을 통해서 그 형태와 구성들을 조화를 시켜서 여러 가지 테스트와 그다음에 VR 기기를 실제로 1대1로 VR을 시뮬레이션해서 그 결과값을 가지고 최종으로 이제 1대1로 뽑아서 디자인을 이제 완성시켜서 인스톨레이션 프로세스를 가지고 있습니다. 제가 제 작업을 짧은 시간에 이제 다양한 프로젝트를 보여드렸는데 특히 산업 디자인이라는 직업 자체는 무언가 만들어내는 거기 때문에 어떤 지속 가능한 이야기들에 대해서 사실 고민해야 할 부분이 굉장히 많이 있습니다. 그래서 소재의 어떤 혁신성, 그다음에 디자인 프로세스의 어떤 혁신성을 통해서 좀 더 사회에도 이롭고 산업적으로도 조금 더 메시지를 가지고 있는 제품과 서비스를 만드는 쪽으로 많이 하고 있고 그런 과정에서 특히 사회적인 메시지, 디자인 얘기하는 가치와 사회적인 메시지 그리고 좀 더 유용성을 가지고 널리 이롭게 한다는 개념 작업에 투영시키려고 노력을 많이 하고 있습니다. 네, 들어주셔서 감사합니다. 이상입니다.
All right. It's all ended. So shall we go directly to the Q&A session?
Yeah, we have some good questions have come in, and we've started to answer some of those questions in the chat. So if you look at that, and we have a question from Martin Miller about collaboration and working together. Very quickly, I will read it. We'll finish in about 5 minutes, by the way. So he says he was an artist in residence at Science Walden in 2019. He says, I found exposure to the scientist way of working so interesting but difficult to integrate directly into my practice. I think we've heard that from a lot of other researchers too. I wonder in what way designers could become better mediators between artists and scientists in such co-residential contexts. Now the project is complete, do you have any advice or reflections about how such mediation could occur? For example, how much background knowledge should a designer have about sculpture and biogas research, for example? Would anyone like to chip in and with an idea on that? I think it affects all of you, really.
Yeah, seems like the questioner asked to me, so let me answer first. Yeah, as a median, it's always so hard to interpret and translate the technology to public. Sometimes it's really daunting and it was very difficult. Like, for example, the toilet, the scientists just wanted to make some toilet that can separate the poo-poos and pee-pee. That was it. And then I needed to study a lot for that biogas system. So that was so hard. But the thing is, even though it's hard, we don't give up. And we always just communicate and try to understand the knowledge somehow, try more, like trial and error, but we keep communicating till understanding the knowledge fully, and then start translating, interpreting how that knowledge can be practically visualizing and making as an output. Yeah, so what I'm saying is it's always hard, but the key is communicating fully and then work hard.
Yeah, Jack had a very good response to this earlier. He talked about people working across different disciplines, artists and scientists particularly, developing a shared sense rather than shared knowledge. And that seems like a very good response to that question. We go ahead, please. Yes.
Yes, I just briefly talked about it at the end of my presentation, because somehow, like, I feel when you reach a certain level of knowledge, you no longer think about it as an information, but more like feeling. So it's important to develop this kind of feeling, and so you can communicate like intuitively. So that's the critical point that I found among collaborations.
Yeah.
So any kind of collaboration,
yeah,
like functioning like it. So,
but I think that is true of quite an awful lot of the projects we've seen in this session, that they are about communicating, they're about being human, they're about working with people and working with community. And we had a good question from which says, do you think non-profit and social enterprise, and this person cites Wikipedia and Ubuntu, will replace sharing economies like Uber and eBay? It's quite an interesting question. Does anybody have a response to that? I'll read it again. So it says, do you think non-profit and social enterprises like Wikipedia and Ubuntu will replace the sharing economy enterprises like Uber and eBay? I think
this is a really great question, and we've started to talk about it in South Korea, but I bet this would be more possible in UK, because we've been told that the UK curriculum has catered information at each grade level for students to recognize what kind of products and services they want to pay up for. And in for example, finding out fair trade chocolate versus regular chocolate, what kind of chocolate they will want to buy, and ask their parents to buy for them. We currently in Korea don't have this kind of education, and we're not educating our young generation to be aware about ethical consumption. But if there's considerable critical mass of these consumers, we hope that you will increase investments towards social enterprises. But as of now, I do think the UK has the strongest support for these kind of social innovation to foster. And in the case of the Korean market, social enterprises are still seen more as a subpar company compared to regular traditional profit-making firms. So if those kind of stereotypes can be overcome, maybe one day we will have companies that are all social enterprises.
I think you're right. I think social enterprise has been very supported in the UK and in Europe. And I think, ironically, the kind of right-wing capitalist move to opening up markets and competition has resulted actually in a lot more social enterprise and choice, which in a way has been is working against that kind of market economy in quite an interesting way. So I think, and that actually takes us quite nicely. We think we just have time to squeeze in a third question, which is how will design practices look after capitalism? What are the roles of designer and design researchers in transitioning from a capitalist economy to a post-capitalist economy, society? It's a very big question to finish on. I wonder if any of you have thoughts about that. I think we've seen in many of the presentations today that designers do have a role actually in societal shift, and that one of the things that struck me very early on in the presentations was how much design allows people to engage, and it allows people to engage and connect to change in a way that words don't. So the solar cow is certainly a clear example of that, but so are many of the other things that we've seen today, which are about connecting to people and using design and using beauty to kind of bring people in and make things fun and make things engageable. And sadly, we are out of time. So I would like to say thank you to everybody in the group, on the panelists. Thank you for those who are listening and asking questions. It's been a very rich session, and I'm sorry that we didn't have more time for questions, but thank you all very much indeed. And I hope we'll see you again.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.